Welcome to the Liverpool Connection podcast. Julian here with Chris, here with Glenn, and we're going to talk about Mo Salah, which has been in the news all day today. The Saudis put in a bid around 150 million. Apparently, they're coming back for another attempt, and we'll see what happens. Of course, the Saudi window goes on another week past the English, which is a huge problem. Rumors are tonight that there's potentially going to be a 175, 200 million bid. I don't know how I feel about this. I'm pretty conflicted. Glenn, I'll start with you. I know you have some serious opinions.
Yeah, no, I'm not conflicted at all about it. Obviously it's a massive amount of money, and if it was 2 months ago, you'd have to say that we have to take it. For a 31-year-old, going into his last year, next year and stuff, 200 million or 175, whatever ridiculous amount. But to get rid of him now, basically our window's shut, and even if it was like a couple of days earlier to get someone in to replace him, it's not going to happen, is it? We haven't even got really anyone in our team that even plays right wing. And for those people saying about Ben Doak, no, come on, he's a kid. He's a kid. There's only really also Harvey Elliott, who's like a right, who could maybe even play, who's got a left foot. You know what I mean? And I love Harvey. He's absolutely brilliant. But it's there's no point in having 150 million, 175, whatever the amount is, in your ass pocket, and get rid of your best player. So for me, I don't care what they offer. If it's 200 million or whatever, you just can't let him go. You really can't let him go. Delcross.
Yeah, I agree with you for the most part. Like the whole trouble here is like that. You know, even if they did this on the first day of July, you're gonna have a hard time replacing him, right? He's pretty much irreplaceable. But at the same time, I'll be sad, but I think he'll be. I think by the Saudi window closes here in a week, I think he'll have left Liverpool, unfortunately. I just think that the money is just going to be too much for any business, any club, to turn down. I think about it this way. I said their opening bid was 150 million. So you think about it yourself, like when you go to buy a house, for example, you make an offer. It's rarely your best. There's always a few quid you have left behind because you're going to have to stretch it a little bit more. I don't think they'll have any problem offering 200, maybe even 220 million for him. And at that point, then I don't really see how they can turn that down. And it'll be just a big loss. Unfortunately, I don't really understand why they've left it so late, because they're probably adding a few quid onto the tab by leaving it this late, because they're going to really have to entice Liverpool with a massive offer. So it's strange that they've left it till our window closed to come with this offer. But yeah, I think by the end of this Saudi transfer window, he'll be off, and we'll be watching him. We'll be watching him on telly.
But let's talk about like a couple of points that both you made, Glenn and Chris. Firstly, Glenn, yeah, he is impossible to replace. There is no one to me on the planet right now that can do what Mo Salah does on that right hand side. There is no one obvious who is available. We know the Mbappe thing, but it's pretty much nailed on for the Madrid is going to happen. But there is no easy replacement for him. The fact of we would probably be having a different conversation if this was early June and the bid came in for 150 million. Then you might be like, okay, he's coming, 2 years his contract. We look at his age, he's still quality. We know that. But maybe, yeah, there is an argument there that can be said, okay, yeah, maybe it is the right time. Maybe this can be invested into the squad. Maybe it's better to get this money from Mo and then invest it into maybe 2, 3 top quality players. And then that brings me to you, Chris. So now the question is, why is this happening towards the end of the window when we know that the Saudis have wanted Mo Salah for a long time? They want their centerpiece for their league, and Mo Salah ticks all of those boxes. So then it's okay, well, why didn't they bid earlier in the season? And the only answer that I can come up with that is that they've got encouragement from Salah, his agent, his team, that he is potentially interested. And that to me can be the only reason why this bid has come in so late, because again, on your point, it would make far more sense for a bid to come earlier in the summer, because then the negotiations are a little bit easier, because then Liverpool, okay, have this money and then they have 2 months where they can spend it. But now they're bidding right at the end of the window, knowing that we can't spend that money. So from a negotiation standpoint, it's a hell of a lot harder for the Saudis to get this over the line. So the only way now they could make this happen is to go over, right? Like you said with the house analogy there, right? You start low. Well, it's Saudi, their low is what, 150 million, right?
Yeah,
And they got a few more pence in the bank that's probably going to push it up to 200 million. And then if a 200 million bid comes in, of course we don't want him to leave, but Liverpool, unfortunately, it's a business and it's going to be looked at. And I would be shocked if it wasn't at the very least considered and discussed if a bid in the 175, 200 million bid came along. Glenn?
Yeah. I agree, and that is the weirdest thing at the time is that, you know what's happened, right? So on Wednesday, after the Champions League, they've all had, on Thursday morning, they've had the draw. Right? Mo Salah, we're not in that draw anymore, are we? Send me the teams that we're playing in that Europa League. He's been sent all the pots, for the Europa League. How we've all looked at them the day before the draw, and you're going, I don't even know who half of these are. And he's going to his dickhead agent. Hey, so get the Saudis on.
Hey, get the Saudis, come on.
But no,
get Saudis on the phone.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't know. Like, that is the one thing, and the one thing that really worries me is, other than the Mbappe thing, which it was a bit odd, and it seems like that Real Madrid thing is a done thing. It's very rare the Saudis seem to bid for anybody unless they've been given the green light, and that's the one thing that does really, really worry me.
Well, look how bad on that point. If we're looking at the Saudis' point of view, and they fail in this, I mean, they're going to look, they're going to be an embarrassment to the Saudi people. It's going to look really bad. So I do feel like I don't want to say it, but I feel like everything leans towards it's going to happen within the next week.
Yeah, I think so. As I say, like, had they have opened up with a fucking 90 million pound bid or something fucking like that, or it's a regular team that has has some sort of semblance of a budget. And they come in, at 90 million, you can finally go, no, you can fight these lads off. And I think, and I'm sure Liverpool know that, this is different than when Barcelona or Arsenal or whoever came looking for Suarez and we went, no, we're not selling them, because that there's a certain number they can't go to. Here, they've opened up with an absolute astronomical bid. And, they're going to come back. They're going to come back 1 or 2 more times. And this thing is going to hit, what is the world record? 199 or 200 million for Neymar, wasn't it? From Barcelona to PSG. They'll break that.
Yeah.
They'll break that. And at that point, then Liverpool is just going to look at it and go, like, there's no way.
There was talk about the structure in this offer as well. Apparently it was 100 million up front and then 50 million in add-ons, which I've never heard before. Add-ons normally, it's under the 10 million, 5 million, but apparently it's 50 million in performance add-ons. So that's going to have to be changed. I'm not sure what he's going to have to do in Saudi to hit those add-ons, but that feels to me like something that can be negotiated and changed, that maybe it does end up, I mean, it could easily end up being 150, but they pay 130, 145 up front and then it looks completely different.
Here's one for you. What would you, if it, from an actual price point of view, at what point do you say we literally have to take it?
You know what? We had this conversation, a few of us last week, and it was 150. So I think everyone was like, "Yeah, 150 is fair." that seems like a really good offer. Now it's come along, we're like, I don't know. I think you can go higher.
Well, because I think it's because of that effect.
It is
the effect of this is their opening bid. Like, how often does a club go to another club? Here, I'm going to give you this amount of money for your player, and they go, "Oh, okay, here." Well, there's always negotiation in these big deals. There's all so the fact that the opening bid is 150 million is just mind blowing, and I think that it's inevitable that they'll get up to the 200 million mark, and I think at 200 million you're going to sell them.
You know what I do,
and I think they know that. I think the club. I'm pretty sure the club knows that.
I'd say I'd go back to him and say, okay, yeah, we'll do a deal, 150 million, but you loan him back to us for the seasons, so then we can find someone else in the summer, and then we'll give him to you.
I think.
Then I'm like, yeah, deal, okay, that'll be good. I'm good with that.
I'd be keen on saying to them, like, you give us 120 million, you can have them next summer, and we'll shake hands on it now. Because it doesn't really, like, for me, it doesn't really matter if they come and say there's 200 million or there's 250 million. Like I said at the start, what actually is that going to do for Liverpool? We're basically saying that our season, in some ways, is a bit of a write-off. Now, we can get through the Europa League and whatever, and that can get us through January. We can maybe win the Europa League without Salah. But if we haven't got Salah, like right now, I think all three of us will probably say, don't really fancy Liverpool to win the league.
I don't right now as it is.
Yeah, I
with Salah. Well, that's what I'm saying. With Salah. With Salah.
Oh, okay, right. I thought
without Salah.
Yeah,
without Salah, we've not got a prayer of winning the league, and there's a big chance without Salah, we don't even get in the top four.
I think that's the argument. Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up. I think
so that 200 million in the bank.
Yeah,
that 200 million in the bank. Obviously, you get to January, but this idea of, well, we'll just wait to January, and when at January we'll get all these boss players. Well, yeah, that's exactly how it works, isn't it? And that's where I'm a bit like,
but I think that to be fair to the club, the last time they got a big wedge from the Coutinho deal, they fucking spent it. They spent it, and they spent it. Do you know what I mean? We got Van Dijk, Alisson, and Fabinho. Was it out of that quid?
That wasn't at the very, that wasn't it.
No, I totally agree. But at the same time, you get 200 million right now at the fucking start of September. You have either 4 months or close to an entire year to plan to get yourself your 3-4 top of the notch people like that. The guy that we missed out on I don't know whether we missed out on him or not, but the guy that City got, the centre back, what's it, Gaviol or whatever his name is, the likes of those players, then you can go and actually fucking buy him. Just go and buy him, and that's it.
Okay, I'm going to quote my 7-year-old child here, who said, well, Declan Rice is 100 million and Salah's well better. Right. So this idea that we get 175 million in this day and age, like, you've got defensive midfielders don't even score goals going for 100 million. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, that's another thing that is boggling my brain as well. You've got a fella who's scored hundreds and hundreds of goals, gets assists. He's Liverpool's best player. I just this idea that, okay, well, we'll get the money and then we're gonna replace that and that amount of goals. I don't know. I'm taking it hard, lads. I'm not gonna lie. I am taking it hard.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I don't want him to go. Like I'll be devastated if he goes. Like, I really will, because he's a fantastic player. He's as good a player now as I can remember Liverpool having. And he's going to be a big massive. If he does go, he'd be a massive loss. But I just kind of look at it kind of from a purely like outside business perspective. You look at it and go, at some point you kind of have to look at the club and go, yeah, it's too good to turn down. You got to go on. And it probably that big wedge of money has probably not only does it have implications as a budget going forward for buying players, but it also has implications then on your balance sheet and the FFP and all that. So, that 200 million or 150 million, even if it was, that can be stretched and kind of, it can do a lot of good to the club as a whole. So there's loads of, there'll be loads of, I'm not trying to sound like, I'm saying, we should do it. I hope we don't do it, but at the same time, I understand if they do go, yeah, I have to take the money. Yeah, I get it.
I don't think there would be a Liverpool fan on the planet that doesn't, that wouldn't want Salah to stay. It would make no sense as a Liverpool fan to say, oh no, I'm really happy, I want him to leave, because he is still our best player. I mean, you just have to look at the pass for Núñez the other day. I mean, how many players will be able to do that? I mean, for that goal, it's exceptional, and he started the season well. But it wouldn't be, this would not be a surprise to Liverpool. We knew this was going to happen. Maybe the surprise element is that it's happened now and it's not next summer. That feels like, because it does feel like in a lot of the signings that we have made in the midfield, it looks to me that we're looking for a future without Salah with the type of players that we are signing, right? It could even go back to Núñez up at, if he works out as the 9, and there looks to me there's a potential for the future, hopefully not this season, so I want Salah to stay, but it looks like to me you're looking at the top of the point as Núñez, and you're looking Szoboszlai on the right in that Salah area, and then a Diaz or a Gakpo on the left, and then you've got McAllister and Gravenberch in the middle, and then you got a big money 6 that would come in. It feels like that's maybe a way that we're heading, that we're looking for a future without Salah, but this has come early. And you could also say the same for the Fabinho as well. It looked like we were trying to sign someone to be competitive with him, but go into the season with Fabinho as first choice. But then the Saudi bid came out of nowhere, and it screwed our transfer plans up because we weren't ready for it. So there is, regarding replacements, I think it's more not necessarily us going forward looking for a direct replacement for Salah. I feel like it's more a replacement for the system and the way we play. To me, looks like where we are heading.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I think you're right. I just think we've got such a lopsided squad. I think we've not really got anyone that can play this left-sided centre back role. We've not got any real. I mean, it's harsh because obviously he's just came in and Endo. But we've not really got that much cover there. You would have thought over the last few years, you've got Fabinho, you've got Henderson, you've even got James Milner that could have even played in that 6th role. Now we're really, really short there. We've not got anyone that can really play in the right wing, and it's been a problem for a while that even back up Salah.
Yeah.
Right. So now you've got all these little bits in your team that is a problem. But
because we've done, you look at the signing, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, and Endo. I mean that's pretty good. You'd be pretty happy with that at the beginning of summer, as long as you got in another centre back and another defensive mid and maybe a backup right back, because we are, like you say, we're going to be extremely attacking. We're going to be exciting this season. We're going to score an absolute ton of goals, but it's like we're going to concede a bunch as well, really.
Like someone's just got on Footy Manager and thought, you know what, I want to get a load of creative midfielders. I want to get loads of them in. I'm going to get loads of them.
Or maybe it's the new thing. Don't play with many defenders.
We've got our centre backs are made of glass, and we're 4 games in, and we are down to Joe Gomez and Matip at the back with an 18-year-old kid on the bench as the backup.
I'm so shocked we let Phillips go out on loan, because he can do a job for us. He can definitely do a job. I'm not talking like massive games in the Premier League and stuff, but Phillips can come in and do a job. I'm shocked that we let him go, because for League Cup, certain Europa League games, Phillips I'd be fine with him, and he's done well. So that really surprised me. I really thought letting him go on loan meant someone was going to come in. That was one of the biggest surprises today.
Klopp must really, really like that young lad. Tell you that now. He must have a lot of faith in him. He must, because it's the only answer.
I'm sure.
Why would
Yeah,
you let
it
him go?
is.
You know what I mean? Because it looks like he's the one that's gonna be called upon if needed.
He's the only one, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but to go back, just to go back and kind of finish on the Salah thing.
Yeah.
The only kind of glimmer of hope I have of him staying, was, look, they're going to come back next summer, aren't they, with another wedge of money? You know, you mightn't get 150 million, or you mightn't get 200 million from, but you'll probably get next summer you'll probably get 100 million still for him. And Salah will still get $1.5 million or 2 million quid a week. You've just cost him 50 million quid. So if they can come up with a sweetener for Salah and say, here's a few quid, go off and holidays for yourself, we let you go next summer and everybody will be happy. If they can sweeten them up a little bit like that, maybe I don't know. That'd be the kind of hope, because they want them, right? So they're going to come back. They're going to come back after him. It's
going to happen. It's horrible, right? Because I hate when you go into a season and the player knows and the clubs know that this player's 99% going to be leaving at the end of the season. We've seen this before, and I'm not saying he will, because Salah has been exceptional, but a player's mentality can change as well. Performance tends to drop when they know that's going to happen, be it for, if I'm going to pick up a serious injury, that's it. I'm going to miss out on all these millions. There is no ideal solution here that's going to make everyone happy. There just isn't. And that's it's one of the downsides of having a world-class player. And it's happened with us before. It's happened with other teams. And, you take the amazing things with the great players, but then there's times when you have to deal with the total madness, like with what we're going through now.
What a show of strength, though, it'll be if we do hold on to him. Do you know?
Yeah.
For anybody else in the squad,
that
those long contracts and that might get a bit pissed off from here and there. Like that's a heck of a show of strength. If they do manage to fight these guys off and hold on to Salah for this for next season, man, that's an incredible show of strength. And any young lad sitting there thinking, I'm going to be able to fucking talk my way out of here. You have another thing coming, son. You're only going to go when this club says you're going to go.
Yeah, I know what you're saying there, but I mean, I've heard that a little bit of we've got to praise FSG for rejecting 150 million. For me, it's the fucking last day of the window with the best player. I want Liverpool to go and challenge at the top of the league, and if you get rid of your best player, you're not going to. And I was thinking about this as well, and I'm thinking, if they came in, I can't really do the comparison to Holland. So obviously, he's 22 or whatever, 23 or whatever the bastard is. But if it was like a Rodri, for example, or if it was a fully fit Kevin De Bruyne, because I think, like if he didn't get an injury and he was like firing, or even a Fernandez who's nowhere near as good as Salah before anyone fucking tells me. Would those clubs, those players, obviously a massive part of those clubs, would they sell them if they got an offer for 175 million on the last day of the transfer window? I don't think they would.
Oh, I think the man should sell. I think the man should fucking bring him on the boat. I think they drive him to fucking Manchester Airport. Good luck to you.
I don't know if they would, because I think I don't know, like the last day of the window,
it's a hard conversation to have. Obviously,
it changes your whole season, not getting in the Champions League and all that, and then all your sponsorships with your things and stuff like that. It's like,
I think if I'm, FSG see us, we are a business, right? We are there to generate income. We're a franchise like the other franchises. If regardless of trophies and all of that, I think if FSG were confident that selling Salah wouldn't upset the fans, they would sell him. I think one of the reasons why they are tentative, why they are sticking to their guns, is because they know selling Salah now, the reaction would be disastrous for them. And that is one of the points. Because as a business standpoint, yeah, I mean, with his age, with his contract, yeah, of course, for business, 150 million, yeah, come, give me the money, and then we'll go from here. Because it makes sense as a business with his age, with his contract. With Salah was in the team last year, we didn't get in the Champions League. With Salah in the team this year, it's highly unlikely we're going to win the league, etc. From a business standpoint, it makes sense to sell, but they know it would be a complete catastrophe with relations between FSG, the club, the fans, and the only way they would be able to get out of that is to bring in a player at his level, which is the only one is Mbappe, and that obviously is not going to happen. So,
what about Klopp in this though? What about you talk about the relationship between FSG and the fans. I'd say Klopp now be fucking hopping mad. If he loses Salah on fucking Wednesday, I tell you one thing, I wouldn't like to be around him. I wouldn't like to be in the office.
I can't imagine he'd be happy.
Yeah, I have a bit of bad news for you, Jurgen. We just accepted the offer there for Mo. He's on the way out. I'd say he'd go mental.
Yeah, he would.
He probably would though. But you're saying before there about fans going mad. I think a lot of fans. I mean, again, I'm not asked about fucking what John on Twitter has asked about. My group of like you are, and then my mates as well. Like, I think most level-headed people, even me, who absolutely adores the man, and I don't want Liverpool to sell him, if they came in for 200 million and Liverpool accepted it, I'm level-headed enough to know.
Yeah.
You're sort of like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. No, but I mean, like, if they did accept it,
at times,
I would be a bit like, I can understand why. I can understand why he would do it. And if you said to Klopp, like, listen, it's 200 million. Like, it's 200 million. This is what's gonna do you. Like, I'd be sick. But I think a lot of that, like, Klopp would walk out bollocks that I've heard.
Do you think? Just to throw.
I don't know. He'd walk out, but I'd say I wouldn't like to be. I wouldn't like.
I'm not saying you that, by the way. You're saying that. I think I've heard bits like that. And I think it's bollocks.
He doesn't come across. Yeah, I don't think the way with all these players he's brought in as well. Right. I mean, that would be a massive kick in the teeth to all these players that have, joined Liverpool. He's not that type, is he? But here's another thing. I mean, could there be something where, like, hey, Mo, we want to keep you for another year. We understand you want to go there. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you a pay rise for a year. We're going to bump up we're going to give you a little sweetener for you, something like that. Maybe, say, look, we're going to give you, free trips to London to the Egyptian Museum once a week. You get 3 days off a month to do that. Miss training. I don't know. There's got to be something that we really need you this season. We really want you to stay, because it seems obvious to me that Salah, his agent, his team have indicated that he's interested in leaving.
It's $1.5 million a week tax free, right? And
I know.
with he's got 350 grand a week at Liverpool, 50% tax, just easy maths, 175 grand. Right?
Yep.
So he's going to be getting about 8 times more a week to move to Saudi. So us saying, yeah, Mo, give you an extra 50 grand, like, you're probably earning that about half an hour in Saudi. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, it's going to cost him 50 million to stay the year.
I know, and everyone's saying, oh, well, we could stay one way. So if you're Salah, and I know we're dragging this on a little bit, right? But if you're actually Salah and you're looking at it now, can you win the League of Liverpool? You're asking yourself that question, right? Otherwise, what is in it for him to win the Europa League?
I know.
To win an FA Cup. Like, he's been in the European Cup final 3 times in like 5 years. Do you know what I mean? He's played at the top level. The best players in Europe and in the league. Like, maybe he's thinking, well, this. I mean, it could easily be silenced by Mo Salah coming out and saying something, or the agent coming out again and saying something, and that's the really, really worrying thing. But
Yeah, the last time his agent, what was it, like 3 weeks ago, where his agent tweeted, came out and said, we signed this contract, we weren't going to leave, blah blah blah, and he came out and said something, but he's been silent since then. But anyway, let's end this on a positive about Mo Salah, because he's been magnificent for us. A surprise as well. We thought, okay, we're getting a pretty good play. Looks like he was good for Roma when he came in, but I don't think anyone would have, beyond their wildest beliefs, would have thought how good he has been for us. Chris, where would you put him in like greatest ever Liverpool players?
Ooh, he's up there. He's right up there. He's easily in the top three. I would say. Himself, Kenny.
Have you seen Kenny? Have you seen Kenny as Pom?
So I just seen videos of it.
Right. So what for you then? For you, as in what you've seen yourself. Where would you place him?
Who I've seen myself playing for Liverpool, I'd say he's probably the best Liverpool player that I've seen. I've seen Liverpool at Liverpool with my own eyes. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he just scores. He does the hardest thing in the game, and he just does it for fun.
Yeah.
You just can't argue with that, and he's never injured. Oh, jeez, I should have said that. But you know what I mean? He historically, he's rarely missed a game through injury. He shows up with big goals and big games. He assists. He seems to be a real good fucking lad to have around the place. There's never much trouble out of him. I think he's easily probably the best Liverpool player of my lifetime.
Glenn?
Yeah, I mean, I've said it. I think he's so underappreciated. You sent us something the other day, Chris, with his stats, and I think it was against Ronaldo's stats. And we don't appreciate him. We don't appreciate him enough. He's the best I've seen. Some of the moments, the amount of moments where you just like you got your mouth wide open and watching him going past players for fun. I don't know what it is about him. Maybe it's because he plays for Liverpool, but I mean that year where he scored about 40 goals, and he was like around like 12th in the world or whatever bollocks it was. It's an absolute joke. He's the best. He's the best player that I've seen play for Liverpool, and I am going to be in absolute bits if it's his last game on Sunday.
Oh my God!
My
we're ending on a positive and go there. Last game on Sunday.
Yeah,
you've seen Dalglish, so obviously.
I mean, I saw the tail. I mean, when I saw Dalglish, I would have been 11, 12, 13, 14, that kind of era, and he was magnificent. I mean, Dalglish was an unbelievable player, and obviously there's so many reasons why he's our greatest player ever. We all know that, but to me, it's Dalglish number one, and then there's an argument, and Salah's created that for the second one. Of course, John Barnes was magnificent. Barnes was unbelievable as a player, and there was a case, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, that I would definitely put Barnes like second, but now it's really hard to not have Salah above, just because of what Salah has done and how consistent he has been. And that's what's key. It's been so consistent year after year after year. And even last season, where we were crap the majority of it, I mean, Salah, for any other player, would have had a brilliant season with what he did with goals and assists, and he is underappreciated. And I think this just because of his mannerisms, the way he is, he comes across as a really nice guy. There's no drama in his private life. It's very kind of straightforward for him. He gets on the pitch, does his job, and he's been magnificent to us. And I think even though he is, of course, appreciated by Liverpool fans, I think he feels like he's one of them players that once he's gone somewhere else, wherever that is, I think his stock, his appreciation, his respect, that will go higher and higher, and it will just exceed as the years go on. But yeah, he's been, the way I would describe, he's been a magnificent surprise because I don't think anyone expected this.
No, I certainly didn't anyway. And you just go back and you think about him, and for me, the two goals that really fucking stand out, and you just kind of go like, holy fuck! Like if anybody else, if Ronaldo or Messi or one of these lads, they'd be still writing articles about the goal against City and the goal against Spurs, the equalizer against Spurs. Like those are things of fucking absolute genius. Like pure and utter class from the top of his hair to the bottom of his toe. Like he's just all class.
Like the goal, I was at Anfield actually for it when we played Chelsea, and he scored that rocket at the cop end. And everyone was just looking at each other. Oh, and then Salah, and there's another thing where he doesn't have that ego. Salah does this thing after it. It'd be very easy for a footballer to say, "That's my celebration," and do it after every goal, a la the Ronaldo thing. But Salah, just when he scores, just kind of,
My little lad was born that morning.
Was he really?
I have a funny story on that one. Yeah, my little lad was born that morning.
You didn't call him Mohammed?
No, and I let her roar. This is true. This is true. Actually, this is a funny story. I let her fucking roar out of me in the hospital bedroom. All the nurses came running in and thought there was something wrong with the little fella. My mother was beating me, so she was, "Shut up." Yeah.
Your baby's been born. Yeah, but Salah just scored.
Yeah, or a screamer as well.
So we all decided then that we want 500 million from the Saudis now. After all
yeah. I think we've gone up, right? 250 million, and I think we'll all agree to sell, right?
Yeah.
What about the Saudis? The Saudis can maybe put in an offer and buy Liverpool, right, at the same time, and then they can, give a Salah a loan for the season. And anyway, so we're recording this on Friday evening, and we'll put this out as soon as we can because who knows what's going to happen tomorrow. Hopefully nothing. Hopefully it chills out over the weekend, so at least we can go into the Villa game. And okay, let's put that on the back burner for now. But yeah, I guess we should wrap this up. Cheers, Chris. Cheers, Glenn. And make sure you subscribe and like, and have a good one. Cheers.